Welcome to the next edition of the Briefings Direct podcast series. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Intra-Arbor Solutions, your host and moderator. For managed service providers, making the IT infrastructure as invisible as possible isn't just a nice to have. It's also elemental to delivering the best customer experience. Securing IT for these tech services and support users is no different. The less complexity and interference with productivity from the underlying security apparatus, the better. Today's Briefings Direct Security Innovations discussion examines how Scottish MSP Grant MacGregor Limited has taken the customer experience imperative to new heights, even as its users move increasingly to hybrid IT models. Here to share their story of better managing the security experience as a means of enhancing the overall IT services value are our guests. Please join me in welcoming David Lawrence, co-founder and director of IT support services and advice at Grant MacGregor in Edinburgh. Welcome, David.
Welcome. Thank you for having us.
We're delighted to have you. We're also joined by Paul Sinclair, head of IT service at Grant MacGregor. Welcome, Paul.
Hi, Dana. Many thanks for allowing us to have this opportunity to share our story.
I look forward to it. Thank you. David, let's start with you. What are some of the top trends that are driving the need for MSPs like yourselves to provide risk management solutions that go beyond just endpoint security?
That's a good question, Dana. I think, we typically talk about the threat landscape in the context of the threat actor. And I think what we've seen over the last couple of years with the need for hybrid working is, really focusing now on I guess keeping the honest and the right, and that's the knowledge worker, the poor person in the organization that's trying to do the best they can in a challenging environment. So we see that organizations are doubling down and asking for our advice on helping them stay right, and that's through conditional access policies to protect the organization away from the central network, security awareness training, helping educate those people of the best practices. And I think cloud protection with cloud backup, a lot of organizations have made further grounds into the cloud landscape. So how best can they protect their organizational data? And I think critically, people are more aware now of the MDR and XDR services. They feel that they want a security oversight on their organization wherever those people might be working.
Great. David, tell us a little bit about Grant MacGregor. What distinguishes you in your mind from others in the MSP field? How do you enhance your customer experience in particular?
I think with 20 years of experience in delivering world-class people support and technology services, we've grown to 21 people and now delivering support and advice to over 1,500 customers and their endpoints. We want our customers to thrive by creating better and safer places for them to work, and I think that's critical. People want to be productive, and they want to feel that they have a managed service provider like us watching out for them. So our service desk team deliver our people-centric support, protecting the people themselves and endpoints, and providing that sort of proactive support and administration, just like an outsourced IT department would for them. And our professional services team delivering that we would consider standard practice, but sometimes it's not. The QBRs, that's really important, the advice and guidance for our customers as they make and continue that journey to Azure, security as a service, cloud as a service. And I think our strength is triage and with all their other partners in that sort of technology ecosystem.
Paul, how are your needs for securely delivering these services and support different from, say, 3 years ago? What are some of the trends that are driving your need to adjust and improve in order to capture the best possible experience for your customers?
As you know, certainly in the last 3 years, the world is a more different place than it was 3 years ago. So we've had to adjust our own practices. We've had a pandemic. We've got other crises that's going on in the world at the moment as well. So we've had to adjust as a business for that. We've had to learn how to work remotely, work as a hybrid, but at the same time still delivering that high-end, 100% world-class service that we're there to strive to do. Not only that, we've had to support our own client base and our own clients' users with their hybrid working or the remote working by identifying and delivering these security products that we use today to help keep that customer safe and our customers safe as well.
I was going to say, I think it's a layered approach that we have. Only yesterday did we have a threat actor trying to sneak through maliciously, and again we have a number of protection measures in place, from email protection to education, security awareness training, and filtering, and then Bitdefender's MDR and XDR. And it was only at the last minute, through the human firewall, clicking on the link to remove that email from Mimecast and allowing that through, did Bitdefender, in this case, the XDR service, had our back and blocked it. So again, I think we're very focused on educating our customer base that not one size fits all. What we need is a layered approach to security.
Right. I suppose it's not only layered, but you're in servicing different regions of the UK. You're also servicing different size organizations. So you need to scale up and scale down and have the ability to do that. So how do you engender the trust to the biggest of your customers and the smallest? How difficult is that?
Yeah, I think there's some challenges. I mean, our sweet spot is probably 20 to 70 size organizations. And, we've strategically made our people-centric service agile enough for those numbers. And I think the criticality of that is that we wanted strong partners and strong solutions, so we know how they work and get the best out of that, so our people can actually then know what they're meant to be doing. And I think that's always been a bit of a journey. Where we are now is we're very confident that the providers like Bitdefender, Proofpoint, Cove from Enable, we are using leading edge solutions. But critically, there's a partnership. That partnership needs to be there from those providers. And our next part of our growth is through the co-managed services. And I think that's a really great place to be over the next couple of years, because we can take what we've learned, the tool sets that we have, and our partners that we're partnering with, like Bitdefender, and scale that to the co-managed services to help those stressed and time-strapped IT departments.
Yeah, just to be clear for our audience, can you tell us what those co-managed services consist of? What sort of direction do you see that going in the not-too-distant future?
Well, I think you've seen some of the data as well. It's incredible in this day and age that a lot of organizations, even still in the UK, are not patching the way they should. In this day and age, you think that the number one priority for these IT departments would be that, let's patch Windows to the latest updates and the application, certainly within a timely period. That isn't the case. We're cyber essentials assessors, and we see that for our non-customers, non-support customers. So, we want to help them, and basically then that way they can focus on the strategic side for their organizations. But we have the tool sets to remove that from them, able to patch their endpoint devices effectively, and knowing that at least at that very minimal first level, they're secure. And then work with them on the security as a service. I think that's, again, where we can add real value over our lessons and experiences that we've learned. And again, bringing to bear those partnerships that we have.
And Paul, given the sweet spot size of the customer base that you have, how do you overcome some of these challenges for them when it comes to integrating security? So often security consists of many different tools, many different underlying technologies. Making that invisible is a real important part of servicing a smaller group where they just don't have those skills. How do you go about that, making this invisible, if you will, to them?
Yeah, it's a great question because, David and I can go back, many years in the IT support world, when we first started out, where they did a different application from a different vendor to secure the threat that was out there. But, there was a lot of work and time and effort and using different products over the years that allowed us to see Bitdefender's product in itself that gives us the ability to have web protection, to have a firewall, to have basically a security suite from endpoint protection to USB control and things like that. So having this one product from that cloud-based solution that has the integration options of our PSA system and our RMM system as well, it allows us to deploy basically one RMM agent that allows several different security controls to be deployed to a PC or a company very, very quickly. It makes the technical support of that extremely easy, but also makes the deployment and the onboarding of new customers very efficient also.
Yeah, I suppose us being more remote, all of us as organizations has perhaps hastened that movement to the remote control and agent approach to security. Do you agree, Paul?
Absolutely. Yes, it certainly made our lives, a little bit easier rather than back in the old days of running around different PCs and asking users to give up their time during the day to allow us to do that. So we can do that remotely, silently, and very effectively.
I'm still amazed, and we're lucky enough that we're winning new business, and I'm still amazed from what we would class as our peer group in Scotland and even in the UK that how many security products or mail security products or other MSP tools, you're seeing our peer group not actually cementing their processes and procedures around one or two key products. They're supporting in some cases the customer's solution. I thought we had got away from that from a mature MSP, and I'm sure it's the same in the States. You can only support what you know and train and certify on. And you can only do that with one key product in one key area to be the master of one, but not the master of many. And I think with Bitdefender and other security partners that we have, that allows us to focus, but also put our stack in place for that customer, knowing that we've got their back. And I think sometimes there is those awkward questions from the customer saying, well, I kind of prefer to do it this way, or can I keep that security solution? And we learn that the maturity and the posture needs to be no. The answer is no. We're putting our security stack in to best protect you, and you can hold us accountable, but it needs to be our technology provided to us by our partners.
Even as so many organizations are moving more to the cloud, wrestling with the hybrid transitions involved with that, so much comes back to email, especially for these smaller organizations. It's sort of email is can't live with it, can't live without it. And many times it's the source of a lot of the security hiccups. How important is email, particularly in your overall security posture? And how have you found the right approach to trying to keep people on the steady path to productivity, given the risks inside of email?
It's if you'd asked to start about 4 or 5 years ago, probably maybe 6 years ago, we would have said we probably were spending about 60% of our day managing email security, the false positives, the stuff that shouldn't be getting through an email, and all the headaches, frankly, that comes from that, from malware to ransomware, was causing us real pain points.
The global threats and the new sophisticated ways, we're seeing them daily, the way that basically criminals are there to harvest your data. So you've got to find that right email security solution that keeps up with the times, but also they find the one that they configure it for you in the back end as well when these new threats are emerged or the new technologies there. So we're not relying on logging on to the systems and tweaking these settings here and there daily or weekly like we used to. And one point I would emphasize as well is we're seeing, again, recently over the last year or so, is that email security training for the end user it's a big thing, big must now, and that we're promoting that to our clients because it just takes that one bit of lapse in concentration when somebody's busy to remove a dodgy email from quarantine, and then before you know it, you can be in some real serious bother. So big champ email security training as well on top of your anti-spam and security solution that you've got there as well as a sort of bolt onto it.
Yeah, it's so often that even using the best technology, a lot of things to be successful revert back to behavior, sort of an intangible aspect to this all. Now, for you all as providers to provide the customer experience you want, to embed security, make it invisible, it means you need to have the visibility into what's going on in order to react. So tell us, shifting emphasis now a bit, how the tools that you're using give you the insights as providers to then exploit the technology capabilities further. What is it about visibility that you need most when it comes to these products, David?
the visibility aspect, or to be able to, I guess it's two sides to the coin. There's the proactive nature of being able to look at that data in real time and then conclude, make assessments and then feed that back to the client. Arguably, probably more important is the reactive nature of the security tools that we're using, because you want to be able to jump on that quickly and effectively to remove that threat and to communicate that to the customer, what's happening real time, how we're helping them, and critically how we're going to get them back to a safe place. So we're choosing solutions that are mature, that are a good fit for us, but also integrate into our ConnectWise system, PSA system, our RMM system. And, Bitdefender, Proofpoint, other solutions that we have, they have APIs that fit into that and allow us then to drive that through into ConnectWise, where we've built automation to remove the noise. So a lot of the time the AI will solve these problems out for us. Other times we still need the technology support officers in our organization to be able to see that and react to that quickly. And again, we had an incident only yesterday. Thankfully, the third layer of security jumped in there and got it, and that was Bitdefender. But, we were all over it very quickly. And we could jump into ConnectWise, into other systems quickly and say, yeah, we know exactly how that threat transpired and where it came from. The first gate was closed, but the user opened it. The second gate was closed, but the user decided to open that one. And then laterally, the third gate was definitely shut, and the pool user was definitely not opening that. And that was Bitdefender's XDR service. So, yeah, everything in the world is so quick, much quicker than it was 10, 20 years ago, and everybody wants to be able to report data and jump on things quickly. So, yeah, it's just the right tool set that integrates into our solutions.
Paul, what do you look for when it comes to consoles and management overview, and even taking that the next step to being able to provide the compliance and auditing requirements? How do you look for the right set of requirements fulfilled when it comes to visibility?
One of the things that we do is use a reporting service, a third-party reporting service that hooks into our PSA, RMM, different security solutions, which David touched on. But we send these reports automatically directly from the product set directly to the clients on that monthly basis. The added value that gives is it shows the non-human tickets as such, but it shows also the trust in the security services on these reports, because it will show items that have technically been blocked or have been deleted or have been quarantined. And as part of the AI process that David was talking about, these tickets are logged. The product has done the job, and then the PSA systems then closed that ticket for us. So we're shown that added value that these security solutions that are providing for the client. So they then have that transparency of the tickets that we're doing and the security solutions that we've put in place as well, that's automated for them. So automated for them means that we're not using the time on the person's device to do some of that fault finding. And that for us we found it really valuable, these reports, and the clients certainly do anyway. They look forward each month to receive these, and we get feedback on them every month. So it's great service and tool that we've built for that.
David, you mentioned Bitdefender and the tools you're using from them. Maybe you could give us an overview of what you're using, perhaps how they fit together for your needs as an MSP. And I'm also wondering if the Security Operations Center, the SOC at Bitdefender, is something you rely on or something you're interested in.
We've been with Bitdefender for a number of years now, and again, reviewing the solutions that we had in the past. The irony was we were using malware solutions in the past that had a Bitdefender engine, but necessarily weren't Bitdefender. And I think, the irony was it wasn't just cutting it for us. So to work with a UK distributor partner and then Bitdefender directly, it's just the confidence that it's a grown-up solution. They've been around for many years, and they're always at the forefront of the technology and what they're doing. The way that Bitdefender works for us, we use Bitdefender Gravity Zone, so every one of our customers will have that standard stack. And then on top of that, we use Bitdefender's EDR and ATS technology to secure the endpoint. And for us, that's just a given. It's got that great layer of protection. And the Bitdefender Gravity Zone, that horrible word in our industry, that single pane of glass, that expression. But it does. I mean, the Bitdefender Gravity Zone always evolves and changes and develops. And for us, that single pane of glass is a very good system to go in there and see what's going on in that environment. Last year, we adopted for the MDR service from Bitdefender and dipped our toes in that with a couple of our professional services customers. And the solution, the way it was sold to us, wasn't that they were just going to reactively address threats. They were going to do threat hunting for us. We would give them a lot of information on the customer. They would look at domain names, their threat landscape, and provide that in a security center that we could resell to our customers. And we were open to our customers about ultimately who was providing that, and we would work with that partner to have our customers back. And there's been so many occasions this year that Bitdefender's jumped onto alerts, warned us of some challenges with endpoints, and then ultimately together we've worked at either saying that's fine, let's exclude that, or as the case was even yesterday, they block that threat. And that's what we want. I mean, sometimes when you hear technology providers say, here's the service, and they describe it, you think it's too good to be true. That's not been the case with Bitdefender. It really has. They really have delivered on the MDR service.
Paul, anything to add to your use of Bitdefender, in particular, using them in combination, and then also perhaps the SOC opportunity?
In terms of the SOC, once we adopted that, as David said, and gave the right information to Bitdefender, do you know what that just allows us to do? It gives us that confidence that the user habits on the PCs are being monitored and anything that's unusual is being picked up on. One of the first things that I remember saying to David, once we started seeing the results coming through, was, do you know what? I can go to bed at night now and have that good night's sleep that we never sometimes used to get. You had something niggling in the background, but you're going to bed at night with that confidence on the weekends, with that confidence that user habits are being monitored and looked at and picked up on, whether that user's in the office or working late or irrelevant of what location in the world they're in. We know it's being monitored. So for that, the added value there is just second to none.
Yeah, to me, a lot of the benefit that large, sophisticated enterprises had when it came to monitoring behavior and analyzing it didn't translate down to these smaller organizations, 40, 50 seats. But now, with SOC as a service, if you will, the very best of analysis, behavior tracking can be brought to just about anybody. Does that make sense as from your perspective, too?
Absolutely, because an example being not that long ago, you go to smaller clients than that, of that sort of 10, 20, 25, where the user behavior is not necessarily from a company level being monitored, and they've got the ability to work elsewhere. We had an example not that long ago where some client decided, or a user within the client decided that they were going to go on holiday but still work and not let on to the organisation that they were away. They couldn't do anything because Bitdefender had realised that once the PC was out the country, was trying to connect to unsecure networks in hotels and restaurants and things like that. It just blocked them from being able to do anything. So we were approached by said user and was able to then, pass that information back on to the client themselves. So it sort of acted as eyes and ears as well for them.
When we integrated our organization with Bitdefender's MDR service, they had released that service, as you said, with the goal of securing and providing a SOC center to the smaller SMEs. And a couple of years ago, there was a sort of a manual process between us and the team in the States. We were filling in a spreadsheet, given as much customer information with the customer's support to understand their organization and ultimately the threat landscape. And again, going back to that maturity of Bitdefender, fast forward a couple of years, they have MDR foundations now. So again, they've made that process for us as an MSP a a lot easier to get our customers on board with that SOC service. So now we don't need to spin up a spreadsheet, fill it in. We can jump into the single pane of glass again that Bitdefender provide and put that service on straight away and provide them all the information we need to get that customer secure and enjoying that SOC center.
As we come towards the end of our discussion, I like to quantify and qualify some of what we've already talked about. So looking for metrics of success that you've had, I wonder if you have any ways that you particularly like to measure the overall impact on your customer, their experience, perhaps net promoter scores, and other indicators, PKIs, for example. So what do you look for to know whether you're doing it right and whether your suppliers like Bitdefender are getting the job done? How do you prove to yourselves that things are moving in the right direction? Let's start with you, David.
Yeah, as an organization, we're really focused on that customer experience, and we have a customer improvement board in our ConnectWise system. So we're constantly seeking that just-in feedback from our customers. And what's great with the right tool set in place, and the noise that we were describing earlier about having the wrong mail security product years ago or the wrong malware, ransomware protection in place really caused us headaches. When we review our customer happiness factor, we use customer thermometer. Years ago, I would say our customer happiness was probably around 94%, 93%. Over the last 12 months, we've had a customer happiness score of 97%. So we have, I think it was 1,615 positive feedback and then only 56 OKs. So again, that's telling us weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually that we're doing as good a job as we can. We also survey the key contacts, our key partner within that organization every 6 months on the net promoter score. And again, that's very positive to where it had been years ago. So we're at 69 now, which I think is world class, and 75% of promoters. So again, we're very happy. And, that's not all just down to selecting the right security tools. That's having our people that can communicate in English and set the right expectations. But again, so much of our frustrations, and probably the industry's frustrations, is the wrong tool set. We need the right tools to do our job, and that's critical.
Paul, any favorite indicators that assure you that good night's sleep that you look forward to?
Absolutely. So looking at the numbers from last year, we're on a 47% decrease on malware infection between our clients from last year to this year already. 47%. That's a massive number in a single year. And that's also not just malware numbers, but that has a knock-on number in terms of technical admin cost savings. Technical admin cost savings with Bitdefender and creating the tickets on our PSA system and close them and getting them over. That's 23% so far from last year. So what it's showing us is, as we're evolving, Bitdefender and that technology is evolving with us in that right direction. So as long as we start seeing these numbers constantly where they need to be, then yeah, it's amazing.
I think to add, Paul, as well, the old frustrations of sticking an antivirus malware protection tool set on the machines was having the opposite effect for productivity. The wrong malware protection was just dragging the poor machines down. And I think Paul told me earlier it was a 10% performance gain that we've got at least on using Bitdefender.
Just having that smaller footprint, isn't it? That smaller footprint for 3, 4, 5 different products wrapped into one. So yeah, and we've looked at that, David and I, between the two of us, been working in this industry for 60 years. If you put that combined together between the two of us, the 21 years that Grant McGregor's been together, we've reviewed our security products so often from the start and different technologies. But if they weren't working for the customer, they weren't working for us. But so far with Bitdefender, we have that confidence year on year that we're not sitting down reviewing the Bitdefender technology and the stack that we've got from them. So that, I think for that, we just recommend it as our first product, when we onboard any other new client or user. It's the first product that goes in, and it's the first product that's recommended. And, not one client ever has even said to us, no.
Well, those are really impressive numbers, and I commend you for them. But of course, we can't rest on our laurels. We have to look for where we go next, right? It's never good enough. So what does come next? As we end our discussion, You mentioned something about co-managed services. Where do you look to next, and how can your providers help you get there?
We're in an exciting times and exciting technology without the distractions of what's happening for us in Britain and in Europe. I think two trends. I think what we're going to do as an organization is really focus and help the end user stay right and honest. And that means helping put in the right tool set. So for data loss protection, in-tune policies for the endpoint, education systems for security awareness, and really focus in that direction. So rather than, I think, focusing always, as maybe the industry sometimes does, with external threats, we want to keep the honest. And I think that's first off an easier sell. And I think second of all, that's living up to our values. So we are supporting the end users and the organization navigate the threats out there, but internally outward. And as you said, the co-managed space is huge. I mean, as a managed service provider, there's a lot of us out there. Maybe not all of us are doing the right things, but there's a lot of us out there. And we're all competing in that space and trying to grab each other's customers. And the natural space is the co-managed space where we can pass on those years of experience with the right tool sets, which will be soon, unfortunately, in the UK, the cash-strapped IT department and the time-poor department that are going to need and would want our expertise and advice. And so they can get better on doing the strategic work that they want to focus on. So the patching as a service, the co-managed support as a service, the email as a service, and the backup as a service as a co-managed, they're all we're already making traction in that space, and we're excited about that. So yeah, I think those two growth spurts are there for us.
Paul, David mentioned the unfortunate predictions across the globe for difficult times ahead. Doing more with less becomes the imperative across the board. So, that usually means higher productivity, and that usually means working smarter, not necessarily harder. So what do you see in the next stages in terms of how you can help your customers do more with less from your services perspective?
Yeah, it's all about being smarter, isn't it? For us, out with the technology stuff that David's touched on there, I think, we need to look a bit further into the future. And where does that take us? It takes us probably down that AI route as well, getting the users hopefully just to try and help themselves along that route a little bit, while keep ourselves up to date with the latest technologies, but also just watching the threats, because it's constant. So yeah, I see for us not too far away taking on more AI, use some more of that intelligence, and that will keep the productivity levels where they need to be.
I think as well, the digital transformation that we all hear about, that's a big space for customers to get their heads around, and productivity is absolute, as they move more and more to the cloud services and the platforms. But again, only recently Microsoft have released more Microsoft products. And again, it's our job as a technology provider to help educate our customers in that landscape, and to use tools like business intelligence and getting the best out of, from our perspective, certainly the Microsoft applications. There's a lot of automation there that the customers can build upon. And I think their fear is just how they can get their heads around it. So for us, it's just partnering with the right people to pass that skill set on to the smaller SMEs.
Well, very good. I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. You've been listening to a sponsored Briefings Direct discussion on making the security infrastructure as invisible as possible as an essential ingredient to delivering the best overall IT customer experience. And we've learned how Scottish MSP Grant McGregor has taken the end user's productivity and satisfaction to new heights, even as these customers increasingly move to hybrid IT models and face new forms of security risks. So please join me now in thanking our guests. We've been here with David Lawrence, co-founder and director of IT support services and advice at Grant McGregor. Thank you so much, David.
Thank you very much.
And a big thank you to Paul Sinclair, head of IT service at Grant McGregor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dana. It's been an absolute pleasure.
And I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Interarbor Solutions, your host and moderator for this ongoing series of Briefings Direct discussions. A big thank you as well to our sponsor, Bitdefender, for supporting these presentations. And I'd like to extend a thank you as well to our audience for joining. Please pass this on to your IT and security communities, and do come back next time.